Hey, look at this. I thought I had enough time that I can sit here and.
I never get tired. I never get tired of that intro. That's all.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I gotta get another. Before we start, I gotta sugar up. There we go.
Greg, you're muted.
Greg, you're muted, buddy.
Sorry, long time listener, first time caller. What kind of shoveling apparatus you got there, Brian?
This?
Oh, it's a little wood spoon.
Yeah, it's a
Isn't
little
that
wood
nice?
spoon. It's it's special.
Can I tell you guys a little secret? Since there's just the three of us.
It's just the three of us. Yeah.
I've been on this keto thing, right? Well, my little boy Luke's been helping me in the bee yard, and he was out there. This little dude's slinging single 10-frame boxes off the truck, putting them on stands, doing this, doing that. And he's like, Dad? I'm like, yeah. He goes, how far away is that donut place? And I said, which one? He goes, the one we go to for our birthday.
Donut?
I said, well, it's not far, but they're sold out of donuts by like 8. This is like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I said, I tell you what, I'll get you up real early before everybody else, and we'll sneak over and we'll get us some donuts. So we go over there. I had to behave. They had peanut butter and jelly donuts. They had a peanut butter filled Long John, and they had this whole fresh hot rack of apple fritters.
Oh.
Man, I ate one of those things, and it threw me so far out of keto. He had to drive home.
Oh my,
Bruce, what are you up to?
Just busy, man.
I wanted to say before we got rolling though, James Knoll, thank you so much, man, for the what is that? A super sticker?
Wow, fancy!
It's a super sticker.
That's because you're super.
Yeah, we're all.
Well, those things help. The super chat, super stickers, any kind of that stuff. I mean, it helps. These things it costs us a pretty decent amount of money every month. So I know I'm speaking for you, Brian, because this is going on your channel tonight. But I know I appreciate it when I see folks giving to anybody. So thanks.
Yeah,
it really does help. It's a lot of work goes into this kind of stuff. The video production, as those who are out there that produce videos know. And I was just thinking today about some things I'd like to do to upgrade a little bit on some equipment. But so every little bit does help. And YouTube, for those of you who are monetized, know that the AdSense is not a lot of money. But it is a little bit. It's not a lot, though. But so we just appreciate it, guys. We appreciate all the support just for being on this show tonight. It's great. We're glad to have you here.
I have had to hold back from going straight out to the Lambo dealer. And I almost wanted to get like his and hers.
They didn't have the right color, did they?
Right. On one, have it say
jokers,
you.
Not today.
Well, one would be you, and the other one would be tube. That would driving down the street, you'd see YouTube and Lambos going.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh man, see, that's it. Hillbilly beekeeping. I see you.
Earl he had a new video out. I think it was today. He wrote a tune for old Tennessee 10. I thought that was cool.
But you were mentioned in there.
I got an honorable mention. I thought that was something else. So good job, Earl.
Know. Yeah,
he's a good picker, and I like the tunes that he's using.
He's talented. He's real good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I said on that video, I could easily sit. Just think, whatever, a Friday night or any kind of night. When it's just a little cool outside, you get a little fire going, and you got Earl sitting there playing.
Yep.
It'd be perfect, man.
If we flatter him too much, he's gonna come up with a Stream Team song, something like "Just Them Good Old Boys, Never Doing No Wrong." Don't get any ideas. You guys didn't know I'm a solo vocalist. You guys didn't know that, did you?
Exactly.
Sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I sing so low, no one can hear me. Oh, to them.
You and Earl could harmonize.
I've got nothing but goofiness tonight. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike Berry's in here, and Jeff from Creek.
Mike says he's getting rich off YouTube, and he's telling me secrets.
Well, Mike got all them fancy like cloak boards and stuff.
Yeah,
I know.
He needs to do a how to make $1 million on YouTube.
Yeah.
That would be his viral video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How to make $1 million on YouTube.
Who else is on here tonight? We should probably say hi before we forget, because we're not the best at always looking over. I see Wayne's honeybees from Hocking Hills. Got old Bob Walker.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to catch the Bob and Lee just had a live chat recent, or I think it was earlier
Yesterday.
this week. I didn't. Oh, it was yesterday. I didn't get a chance to catch that one yet, but I'm sure they had a good time.
Well, I jumped on there for a little bit. You had Mr. Ed was on there.
I can't believe they're letting anybody on now. Then
the only reason why they let me on is I
Super chat.
with. Well, I was on the phone with Yappy. Yappy was yapping.
He doesn't do that.
Right. He does that. And Mr. Ed was on, and then I saw Dirt Rooster get on, and I'm talking to Yappy, and I'm like, you got to get in on this live. And he said, who's on there? And when I said Randy, he was like, oh, let me, and he went and got situated. And then he gets on there with these, but Yappy with these crazy looking eyes, And then after I left, I guess JP the B-Man was called Yappy, and they piped him into the live also. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, they had time.
They had some heavy duty hitters on there last night.
Yeah.
They had some of the big timers on there. That was a great job by Bob and his crew.
Yeah,
doing that. That was great.
Yeah, Mike right there. It was a laugh fest. I mean, how
can you not have a good time with those guys?
Oh man, yeah.
Yappy got him a fancy computer like yours, Brian, from what he was saying.
I know. He said he went out and got the Mac with the M1 and all this stuff, but he's been talking to this one over here, and he got all these fancy audio and all these. Yappy. There's nothing. He's not just putting one foot in. He's jumping. So yeah,
cool
there's
man.
Tennessee Tim.
Well, this is unique tonight. We just got the three of us, and I think it's been.
What on earth are we going to talk about, guys? I mean, it's like we just.
I don't know.
You have coffee? What are you guys drinking tonight?
I've got some emergency type stuff, so my throat won't get scratchy.
Uh-oh.
But I've got the Nature's Image mug right here, though.
Look at that, Hershey's.
Yeah, my aunt and uncle used to live like half an hour away from Hershey Park.
Oh,
so every time we would go and visit, I'd take the kids over to Hershey Park. And
I can't believe there's actually a city named Hershey and there's a candy bar named Hershey. It's like, isn't that just a coincidence?
When you drive through that town, the street lights in that are Hershey Kisses.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, hey, why don't we start talking about bees a little bit, guys?
I know.
I was having fun talking about candy bars.
I know.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with candy bars either.
But you guys, it's whatever you want to do. It's your show.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just us here. Nobody's watching. Nobody's listening.
Yeah.
So Thomas is here. I see. So
Matt and Sarah, they're on there. Thanks, Matt, for all the troll thumping on all the streams. We appreciate that.
We got Bradley down under fella down in Australia.
That was if I close my eyes, I think I was just traveling.
You were there.
I was right there. Wallabies and the whole nine. Way to go, Brian.
Look, Bruce is tuning out. He's like, all right, I'm already
like these jokers. Let's talk about
these. So slow. I'm trying to type a comment here. I'm sorry,
Bruce. Are we interrupting you tonight, Bruce? I'm sorry.
Mad Mort. What's up, buddy? Yeah. So Greg.
Oh yeah. So Mad Mort. So the last comment comes. I gotta apologize because I didn't know that was his thing. Saying so I thought it was like a troll comment, and so I just kicked it right out. There it is. So so Mad Mort. Sorry about that on the last one. I didn't know. I was trying to just
Morning, ladies.
Yeah. Greg, when do you rotate in Z-Town in Newark? Oh, probably rotate boxes. I guess Bruce. Well, let's hold that question until Bruce is absolutely ready to talk about bees.
Right.
Brian, what'd you do to your camera? Is that maybe it's just Mike's?
No. I put
Are you blurry?
Am I?
Maybe it's just my feed.
Well, here, no.
I was gonna say you look great. Awesome. Just keep up. Just keep like that's even better.
Look at that. I didn't even have shown up.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. We're just talking to the screen there.
Corrected it. There we go. Yeah. All right.
Okay, I'm locked in, guys. Let's go.
Okay. All right.
You sure?
Hi, Bruce. How you
Yeah.
doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I was just trying to respond to Matt. He was asking kind of how I got sick in Alabama with 70-degree weather, which it's been raining a
Probably
little
that
bit, but
pine
been very
pollen, all
nice.
that nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah, there's pollen everywhere. But I
Yeah.
told him this is just kind of like a little thing I drink to help keep my throat from being scratchy, but there's no alcohol in it. It's just like an emergency type
I know.
thing. So
I am grainy. I see that.
Thomas from Free Range Art Farm says he's never going to give another super chat again if Brian can't get his screen together.
All right, I'm
See,
moving it.
Thomas has like 8 YouTube channels. He's got one for pottery. He's got one for archery. He's got one for smithing. He's got one for pottery. He's got one for bees. He's got one for cars. I'm missing
There
2
we
or
go.
3. He's a man of many YouTubes.
I saw Lisa's on here, Grammy's midwife.
Yeah.
Paul, and she says she lives about 20 miles north of me up there in Ozark, where I've got some bees actually. close to there.
Yeah.
And she said, and all caps, that's true. I've never been it doesn't bother me much though. I don't have a lot of allergy problems. So everybody else is coughing and hacking and having a hard time. And I've never had an issue with it. So I've been lucky. Before
we get started, should we, just in case there's any like new people to the stream team, should we just like go in a circle and just say where we're from, what we're doing? Supposed to have maybe a little bit of context before we start rambling off questions.
I was thinking earlier that'd be great to have tell our story briefly, kind of how we got into these.
Sure.
So,
Bruce, shoot.
So for those who may not know me, I'm Bruce, Brucesbees, down here southeast Alabama. And growing up, I was always just intrigued with insects and bugs. Had an insect collection with like 100 bugs in it, or insects in it, by the time I was in the first grade. Just kind of a weird kid, I guess, in that respect. Grew up on a farm and just kind of intrigued by nature, always have been. Life, moved on, and 2013, fast forward to 2013, or I guess actually fall of 2012, I was a home health physical therapist at the time, and I was treating a patient who had bees, and started talking to him about that, and just got really intrigued by it. And somewhere around that time frame, there was a talk given at a conference of our church where the speaker compared the beehive to, the church and so forth. Just made a really interesting points, and I was intrigued by that. And so I started thinking about getting bees. And my father passed away in January of 2013, and shortly after that, I asked my mother if I could just put a couple of hives up on the farm to see what they were like. And so I decided to do it, I think, on a Monday or Tuesday evening, maybe. Had no idea what a frame even was. Had no idea. And so I got online, did a little research, and I had a friend who had bees, and so I contacted him, and somehow I found out about a local guy here close that was able to sell me some bees and all the equipment, just basically everything. I didn't even have a bee jacket that first day. I borrowed my friend's bee jacket. So that Saturday, like 4 or 5 days later, I went down, bought 2 nukes from him. He had put them in the boxes for me, carried them over, set them on the hive stands. And a few weeks later, my brother wanted some bees, I guess, because I got bees. And so I got 2 more. So I had a total of 4, 1 in my backyard here, and then 3 up at the farm. And my brother had 2. And that's how I just was addicted to them immediately. Just, couldn't stop. I still can't stop growing, and just so intrigued with the bees. I love the bees. And so it's just an addiction. And those on here who have bees, who really enjoy their bees, know what I'm talking about. I don't know what it is, as Greg says, about the bugs in the box, but there's something about them that just is therapeutic to me and to many people. Some people are terrified of them, and that's okay. But for me, it's an absolute therapeutic thing. I would rather be almost nowhere besides just messing around with the bees and learning about the bees and just trying to grow my operation. And so over the years, I've learned a lot. I still don't feel like I know much. And so if you watch my videos, I started the channel actually in, I think, 2014. I actually had a table saw accident where I lost a finger. Can you see that? I just got 4. So I didn't lose it completely at first, but they repaired it. It failed. And then back in 2018, I think it was, they went ahead and took it off. It's been way better since. And so most people don't even notice it unless if you watch my videos, you'll see the glove. There's a finger flapping around there. And so, yes, I'm missing a finger, but it has been much better since that second surgery. But I started the reason I told you that story is because I started the YouTube channel right after that when I was recovering. I think that's when I started the channel up and started doing a few videos here and there. Had no idea what I was doing. I just had an old Samsung Galaxy phone, and I shot everything in vertical format. Didn't even know how to edit videos at all. My daughters had done a little bit of messing around with some YouTube stuff in school, just when they were with the horses and stuff, kind of messing around. And so one of my daughters got me on a program where I could edit a little bit, but I still had no idea what I was doing, and did a few videos, and some of those have actually done quite well. I don't think there was as many people doing it back then. I think there were just a few people. You know, you got some of the icons like, you know, JP the Bee Man. I think Yappy was getting started back then. Randy was doing some videos back then, I believe, and some of the big icons that have been doing it for many years. But we had the Vat Bee Man. Don was doing it. And so we had quite a few people doing it, but not a lot. And so I think some of my videos from back then have done pretty well just because there weren't a lot of people in the game. I do believe it's more difficult now because there are a lot of people doing it, which is a good thing, but it just takes a little more work to get to where you want to be. And it just takes, you know, you have to improve your craft. And so in 2018, I believe it was, I decided to get serious about it. That was, I think, about the time I had my other finger surgery. And I just decided I wanted to figure out, I mean, they say you can make money on YouTube. How do you get monetized? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I've been just a student of YouTube ever since then and trying to figure it out. And I still got a long ways to go. But it's been a lot of fun. And with all you guys out there that watch the channel, I really appreciate it. Hopefully we're giving you content at Brucesbees that you want to watch and continue to want to watch. So that's kind of my story. And I started off as a vlog. It's still kind of like that, but it's, you know, it's just more of a, I always want you to kind of experience what I'm experiencing the best way possible. I try to edit and keep them as short as I can, but still include all the content that I think you want to see. And, you know, who knows where I'm going to go from here. I really don't know. I'm always thinking about things I can do differently. And I try different types of videos, and you'll see that if you watch that I'm just trying different things. And I think giving you a, you know, the topic is pretty much almost always bees, but just a little different angles, different approaches, different things. You know, some of them are kind of almost like how-to videos, and some of them are just kind of like, let's experience bees type videos. And so I'm just trying to give you somewhat of an idea of what I'm doing and what I'm doing right and wrong. And so hopefully you can prevent some problems. But that's kind of my story over here at Brucesbees, and I absolutely love it. And you know, these guys right here, I didn't even know them until December, I think.
Yeah.
I wanted to do some live, started trying to do that. And I had heard from Brian Carlton, actually, who doesn't have a channel anymore, I don't think, but he kind of told me about Brian a couple of years ago that he was doing some lives. And so I contacted Brian and we did the first live, back end of December, probably somewhere in that time frame. And then Greg got on there. We had a nice video. And then Greg had actually contacted me about Hive Life, doing a interview there. He had contacted me, just reached out to me. And so that's kind of how we met each other and got this thing rolling.
That's cool. You've had quite a journey, and it's fun to know the backstory on who Bruce is and the backstory on Brucesbees. So when everyone watches your videos, or they see the streams or see you interacting with folks, it kind of gives them an idea of, you know, kind of where you're coming from and where you're at and what you're trying to do. I
would say that, you know, you see the subscriber count, and it's decent. I'd like it to continue to grow, and I think it will. But there were a couple of videos that just kind of that allowed me to get some momentum. And one of them was it's called the Mean Bees video, dealing with the mean hive of honeybees back in I think it was 2018. It may have been 2019 actually when I did that, but had a friend that had some bees, and he was just tired of trying to deal with them because they would just staple his socks to his ankles, and he just got tired of getting stung. And so I went out there and just tried to deal with those bees, and they actually weren't as bad as I've seen some that were worse, but they were pretty feisty. And that video kind of took off. And then I did one last spring about some abandoned beehives down in the panhandle of Florida that Ron Harris down there, and he told me about, went down there, and that one really has been my most popular video ever. And so I've made over 300 videos, but I've had a few that have done well, but those two were the ones that kind of put me, I would say, on the map a little bit. And my goal, I'm always striving to get another one like that and to continue to improve. But if I can have consistent growth, just get consistently more each video or try to improve, my average viewership and everything, I think it'll continue to grow and do well.
Awesome. Well, I know out of all of us, we kind of look up to you, Bruce, because you have the biggest channel and the most amount of subscribers. And see, look at Brian's looking up. Oh, that's fun.
Literally.
So I'm going to tell you, you guys though, like Greg, whenever you do something, it's like an incredible production. I just don't think you've done enough of them, man. You just got to do more, which I know that's easy to do when you're so busy. And then Brian, and then Brian down here, you know, he's the technology guy. His videos are just getting, almost everyone is just getting better and better, and just incredible information. Just the stuff he's talking about. If you're a beekeeper and you want to, I mean, you could basically follow Brian's blueprint, especially if you're up in that area. And he's just trying out the products and he's showing you what's happening and describing exactly what's going on. And attitude's great when he loses a hive or two. You know, he just is like, hey, that happens. And it's just really fun watching both of you guys' videos. I watch your videos, Greg, and I'm like, man, I've got a higher standard I've got to reach as far as just all the music and everything you put in there, and just it's like an absolute movie or trailer or something. They're great. So,
yeah, it's fun, but I like watching you guys' stuff a lot, and Brian too. Brian, tell everybody about your kind of journey. And I know you've got a brand spanking. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, so I'm sorry, but I've got brand spanking. I've got an idea of what it's about. But tell folks about how there it is, prime time.
Wow, look at this. I don't know how to handle this. Well, I tell you, haircut? Look at that.
Or you're not wearing a hat. You usually wear a hat.
Well, I'm not. I know. There's a hat over there, but it's not like one of my regular hats. It's a product hat. So
if you get a super chat in the next minute, I think the fans are voting for you to put a hat on. If you don't get a super chat, I guess they want to keep you see your hair there. It's
funny that you said a super chat, because I'll go grab the hat that I have over there. All my other ones are downstairs. Just watch what this hat is.
Oh gosh,
you'll crack up laughing. No, you're gonna laugh.
No, what do you think it is? It's probably a Michigan hat. It'd definitely be laughable.
No, here, I've never worn it. Okay.
Oh my God! Look at that.
Yeah, got my super clean on right now.
Wow. Did Brian? Did you acquire another sponsor? It looks like, huh?
I've had a box of stuff over there that they sent me.
Are we drinking it tonight too?
No, I'm not drinking super clean.
Shots. Matt and Sarah is saying shots. I mean,
no,
you're never gonna live that down, Brian.
They want to just be a good sport. No.
There it is. There's a super chat. Why don't you put the hat back on?
They wanted me, they want me to clean some beekeeping stuff, and I have to get. I have to film that video here within the next few days. They sent
clean beekeeping stuff.
Well, I want to use it on my smoker. I'm going to mix it up, and because my smoker is just nasty, it's all caked up and gunked up. So I'm going to do an honest, spray it, and then get a little teeny brush and see how it cleans it. I'm going to clean my hive tools and all that kind of stuff off. And I know I could use it on like a grill, and you could use it on your car engine. You can do all that kind of stuff.
Mouthwash.
I want to.
Toothpaste.
Mouthwash, yeah, it'll clean your gums, but I want to see how it works on beekeeping equipment. So, but to back up, I think, oh my gosh, when did I start? Was it 17? It was. I actually got my first bees on Earth Day. And I started out just simply because and it was Earth Day. It was April of 17. And
420 of 17.
It was. And I got into it just because my mom wanted to get a flow hive. And I bought her one. I was the good son, and I thought, well, get it for Christmas. I bought it, and then, like Bruce said, it's just you kind of get lured into it. The more you just start reading about the bugs in a box, and you just start learning about all of the behaviors and just everything that they do. I mean, it was just like this. I just kept getting, pulled in and pulled in. And I got hooked immediately. When I installed the bees, I was just hooked immediately. And, like my goal as far as beekeeper is just to be successful in Northeast Ohio. That's where I'm located at, and just keep, 10 or 12 colonies. That's all. But and like Bruce said, I mean, I share pretty much those that don't know me. I share everything. When I lose last year at this time, I didn't have a single colony. They had all died over the winter. It was my fault. And I got my package bees from, look at that. I almost like having like a huge hand there. Look at that. I'm like a giant, but I met, and Greg, that was the first time that we met, was on your bee run last year. But I'll share everything. It's just like my video today. I had a little square of pollen patty in a colony, in a hive, had small hive beetle larvae in it. I pulled that right out, and here you go. This is what you see. So I'll show everything. I show when I lose them. I show, my successes. So, but just the backyard beekeeper, sharing my beekeeping journey.
You got a brand spanking new video featuring one of the old Earl Dooley hillbilly beekeeper tricks, don't you?
That was today also. Yeah. I did. So Earl, has passed on this information to everyone. And I know there's quite a number of people now that are doing or trying this out. It's the peppermint candies that you put in your hive, and small hive beetles do not like that peppermint. So they, from what I hear, the numbers of small hive beetles in the hives has really gone down. So, and even I know Earl said, I think it was maybe a week ago. I don't know how many days ago or whatever, but he said that even Dr. Jamie Ellis has caught wind of the peppermint and is looking into it as well. So, you've got even those at that level now that have recognized it. And I just thought, it can't hurt. You're putting in a piece of candy. So, so yeah, that was the video today. So, and I actually, I did that yesterday. It was kind of just a spur of the moment when I went out and checked the colonies, finished up with work for the day. And I thought, it's like 62 degrees in Ohio. I'm going to go out and, check. I mainly wanted to check that one colony just to see that if there were any larvae in that pollen patty. And I'm thankful that I checked it. I ended up just yanking the pollen patty out of that colony, because if they're not taking, a piece this big in a week's time, they don't need it. So there's so much pollen out there now. They've been bringing in bright yellows and that, and I even forget who I was talking to. I think on those two hives, when I was just sitting out and just looking at them before I got into them, it was about every 3 out of 4 I saw with their baskets filled. So they don't need it. They don't need it. So that's my story, Greg, and I'm sticking to it.
I was wondering who was going to be the first to say, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Is that because of the 90s country song? Or does that go back further than that?
I don't know. I could take it back to. I could take it back. Well, no, man, I forget what year this was, but you almost know what I'm going to do when I click something here. You're going to see something, and I have to do it one time. I have to, Watch this. Watch this. Watch. It's the suspense. It's the suspense. Boom.
Just a man
Bruce,
of
you're
many
muted.
talents.
We didn't even get to hear him. Look, he's muted. It's like Bruce has never done this.
I said I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming when you said it. So
At some point, yeah, just building it up and building it up. Yeah. Oh,
hey,
man.
listen, I watched that video, man. Those hives are looking good. I mean, compared to even just what 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mean, you could see when you opened them up, 2 or 3 weeks ago, just 3 or 4 frames of brood, and you could see a building. But man, this morning they were all the way across.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah,
another 2 weeks from now, and they're going to be just completely covering all the frames. You won't even be able to see the frames.
Yeah. They are, and I don't know. I can't say, okay, I put that fondant on them, and then I put the pollen patty on them, and I've had 1-to-1 on them with the Hive Alive, my favorite drink of choice, in that 1-to-1 mixture. I don't know if it's just the combination of all of that together. They have just gone nuts. But I know the sizes has just, I mean, you saw it when I open them up now. I look and it's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's something to behold. It's awesome when that starts to happen in the spring.
Yeah.
Greg, now did you get those queens from Greg? Are they some of his queens?
Those are from him last year.
So are those heavy carniolan traits, Greg, or are they? I know they're a mix of a lot of things, but are they a lot of carniolan?
I think I missed that. I was sort of paying attention, but I was more focusing on pouring coffee. So
I was asking because I asked Brian if those were your queens, and he said they were. So I know that they're starting to explode now that it's warming up some, and he's been feeding them. Are yours heavy? Do they have a lot of carniolan traits in them, or are they?
I think watching your videos, it seems like you've got some of the darker expression in there. Those carnies are kind of, they brood down a little bit. They're more conservative going into the wintertime, and then they seem to ramp up and then really start to take off in the spring.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and I tell you, and Greg, you got to be looking forward to this. I think next week we're going to have warm weather all week. So, you look at, and what I'm doing now is I look at the number of frames that the bees are covering now, and we're going to get another brood hatch, a big brood hatch here soon. And I've got drone brood in there, and that's going to be hatching out. And then shortly after that, there's going to be those signals going through those colonies. So it's going to be very, very, very soon up in these northern areas that, we're going to have to hit it. So splits and, just get the season going, but it's going to be soon.
Yeah, I'm ready to start seeing you pull some more of those frames out and look at that brood pattern. I know you did a little bit of it, but I'm ready to see what the brood looks like in there, man.
Next week, definitely. Awesome. I will. Yeah. Because, I mean, we have 3 days in a row where it's going to crack 70. And yeah. I'll really then, I think once we get into next week now, I think this next weekend we have some cool weather coming again. Not below freezing, like 40 degree, whatever. But I think I'll probably, when we get into those 70s, I'll probably crack
I'm
more.
Sorry. Could you say that one more time?
70s.
I'm sorry. Could you say that just one more time?
70s.
Music on. Let's put some music on. Some brown music? Chicken, brown cow. Just.
Oh my! 70s. Listen to him. The 70s. I know, but I probably will. Yeah, I'll probably end up cracking my bottom boxes just to look and see. I'll just go through a thorough assessment on each of them. Where are they at? If I need to, flip flop boxes, yes, I
Oh
will
God!
do that.
Don't look at the
Sometimes.
comments.
70.
70s. Oh,
I love it.
I'm gonna need a. Wow. Oh boy.
Look at that
That
right
just
there.
gives me shit down my spine. Oh boy.
70s.
70s. Oh.
Yeah.
70s.
So,
70s.
but yeah, I'll.
Bruce is like, you jokers. It's in the 80s. It was 90 yesterday, probably for Bruce. And he's thinking, you guys are
I think it was mid 80s today here.
That's
But
too
it
much.
was
I don't like 70. If I could live somewhere where it was 75 year round, I'd be good.
Yeah, me
Grafting
too.
first day
Me
70.
too. That'd be
Wayne's
awesome.
Honeybees. He's down. If I remember right, I was gonna try to stop out and see him. Maybe a few weeks back, a month ago. I think he's down towards Cincinnati. And so yeah, he's next week. We're on. We're getting the starters pumped up, juiced up, ready to go. Start grafting. Just the word 70s. It's just
Now,
it is 100% on starting next week.
Before we and I'm gonna chat with you there, Mr. Admiral Burns. Kind of like that.
Burns?
Admiral Burns. I like that.
It's like a boat term, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only thing I know about Admiral was the old what was that thing called? Captain D,
Commander.
the Captain D's, the Admiral's Feast. Or no, is that Red
Commander
Lobster?
Burns.
I don't even know.
Commander Burns. There we
Commander?
go.
Okay.
Because I do want to scoot down, but before we get more into this, I mean we got the story of Bruce. It's like the Book of Eli. Remember that movie? We've heard the Book of Bruce. We had the what were those little teeny books that instead of reading the whole book, you just kind of read the cliff notes. They got the cliff
I thought
notes.
you meant them Golden Seal Kids books, or Golden Circle, or Golden Corral, or whatever those things were called.
Everybody heard the cliff notes of Brian, but now what we need is
oh boy.
Oh,
you have to bear with me, guys, because I am just if I'm seeming extra super duper loopy, and I'm trying to hang in there.
We're about to hear the Encyclopedia of Greg.
No, that's well, where to start? I guess I always, when I'm giving a talk or a presentation, I always say, well, where's the best place to start? Well, I guess it's usually the beginning, but we'll try to keep this. I'll keep this to elevator speech. We've been, most folks know us from our YouTube channel, which is Nature's Image Farm. Some folks know us from our podcast that I do with my buddy Dan Bokrus over at the Contrary Beekeeper Show. What some folks maybe don't know is the podcast that we had before that was called The Contrary Farmstead. And that was me and my wife kind of talking about our farmstead experience, getting out to the land, raising kids, homeschool, and that kind of stuff. And this has all just kind of been a progression from, and it wasn't too long ago. I think back in 2014, I got in a real bad car wreck, and that's a long story. But when life flashes in front of your eyes, you reprioritize everything, and life means something different and looks different. And we decided to do everything we could to get out to a piece of land and kind of learn all these old time ways right next to our kids. We're first generation farmers, and many generations removed from it. So we're trying to learn all this stuff along with the kids. So as we're out here raising chickens and turkeys and pigs and rabbits and kids and cats and lots of kittens and goldfish and you name it. My wife said, you know what we need? And I said, what's that? She says, bees. Well, you guys know when your wife says we need anything and it's cool, you're like, yes, ma'am, write the check. I'll even make you dinner. And anyway, so bees kind of fit into the overall thing that we were trying to do, was try to create some self-sufficiency, some resiliency, kind of grow more of our own food, take our life into our own hands as far as what we do with it and what that kind of looks like. And so that's kind of just been a kind of a long, steady progression of doing a lot of different things around here to try to see what stuck. And bees were the thing that was the thing. Bees just stuck. Bees have been here with us kind of from the beginning, and they just keep growing and growing and growing. And bees don't need pasture, and bees really don't. They don't need water. They fend for themselves. Literally, they are they're kind of like our kids. They're feral. Our kids are trained to be self-sufficient. I'm real proud of them. The bees has been one of those things where, out of all the little things that we've kind of built up around the homestead, um, everything hits the ceiling as far as context and scale, and you can't go any further with it unless you have more acreage or more infrastructure. And to earn any extra income doing it just kind of went down. It just didn't make sense on our acreage at that time. So so we just bees were the thing. And we've kind of, from the very beginning, our YouTube channel is actually quite old. I think it goes back probably even 6-7 years ago. As we would take a video here and there and kind of put it up, it might have been hog butchering, how to make bacon, smokehouse country hams, how to raise chickens, chicken butchering, just a whole kind of homestead kind of a flavor. And we kind of got in some trouble on YouTube with PETA and a lot of those things, to where it wasn't working real good. So we just kind of cut all that content out. And then we noticed people kept asking for more bee videos. So that's what we did. We just tried to start making more bee videos, not coming from a place of authority, not coming from a place where we're saying, hey, this is exactly how you do it. Just literally just sharing our experience in the bee yard, trying to grow it and turn it into a business. And that's been many years now. And that's what we do here. We're based here out of Zanesville, Ohio, and we raise nukes and queens. We just started a supply shop this year where we sell, wax dipped hive equipment, and have Premier Foundation and frames, and Larabi's vaporizers, and just we're even going to have these cute little Castle Hive hives. We're going to try to talk Brian into stocking them right here at the store.
Wow.
But, I know. But anyways, that's kind of the quick speech. We're not, like I said, coming from a place of authority. We're just saying, hey, this is what we do. And we just kind of share that through the places that we have any kind of influence, the podcast, the YouTube channel, live streams like this. We just kind of enjoy learning from folks and that collaboration. And so now here we are at this time of year, and it is absolutely gangbusters, full on kind of a deal. And anyways, I'll just keep rambling, guys. So you have to cut me off. I'm going to come up for air for a cup of coffee here.
Greg is, and for those that don't know him, Greg always says, he's always paying me compliments, and Bruce does the same thing and says this and that. But I will say about Greg, for those that do not know him, and I was talking to, I was talking to our moderator extraordinaire today, Matt, and just, we got talking about, all kind of different things. And Greg, you came up, and, like I told him, for those that don't know him, he is the type of person that will do anything to help out anyone, and I even threw out the example of when we're going down to the conference, the detour out, even to get Tim, go and get Tennessee Tim to make sure that he made it to the conference, and just always, doing things for others. And you're just good friend, so I know if I ever need anything, I shoot a text or I call. And so, yeah.
Well, life is fun, and it's fun having, to be able to experience it at the fullest, and be able to enjoy the fruits of all that. But I tell you, what's one of the greatest rewards is the friendships, the people you meet, the community that you build, and just being able to be there. Somebody, Tim, everybody. There's, what it kind of goes back to that thing to where it's better to give than receive. I like to be in a place where I can help somebody and not even think about it, without being any strings attached. Like, I'm not looking for anything in return. So that's the kind of folks that I like to surround myself with. And here we are. I've met you guys, and so many other, and that's. And then you have folks who are concerned about you and are asking you questions like, Greg, did you get stung? My camera's too far away, but I'm notorious for not wearing anything in the bee yard.
Oh, did you get tagged?
Well, something got me. I wasn't quite sure what it was. It was a bee, but I got these weird droopy eyelids now. Anyways, I can remember one time years ago, I was going down and visiting a bee mentor, and I hadn't. This was years ago. My bees were all dead, and I got to walk into the bee yard, real excited to see him, and he calls me, says, "Hey, come look at this." I run right over like a puppy dog, run right over to those to the hives there, and I just put my face straight down in the hives there, and I just get blasted, right? So now I've got bees hanging out of it, all my eyelids just wriggling and wrangling, right? There had been 10 in each one. I'm trying to play it cool, and so he's not missing a beat, and I'm just pulling the bees right out of my eyes, right out of my stingers. And my wife is hope she's not listening, because if my wife was around, if she was on this earth like 200 years ago, she would have probably been burned at the stake for a witch, because she uses a lot of herbs and makes tinctures and homeopathy and things like that. Well, she has me squared away. She has me with these comfrey salves and all this kind of stuff that she tells me I'm supposed to do if I get stung. And so here I am, pulling these bees out, and it's just going nuts, and I'm putting salve on there. Anyways, I think as a result of that, my eyelids just seem a little droopy. So especially this late in the evening too, it's already been 2 days worth of work, it seems like. So, but anyways, enough about my eyes. I did not get stung, I don't think. Maybe I did, but there's another one there. Anyways, I like it. I can remember the first sting of the year. This year was a video me and my wife did, I think, feeding sugar, and that first sting, God, it feels so good. I mean, I love it, absolutely love it. But
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've been stung yet this year.
Try taking your veil off and just putting your face on top of the hive.
No, I don't want to do that
at night. Okay.
With a bright flashlight at the same time, and just hold it right here.
Oh,
and I could, if I wanted to, I could be eating a banana at the same time. Is that it?
That banana thing, I don't know that works. We smell bananas on bees on that alarm pheromone, but I don't think bananas trigger them, because I eat a lot of bananas in my little keto protein smoothie things.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough about that.
I think I've heard of people feeding bananas to their bees. Is that something they do? I think I've heard of that before.
People feed people feed seaweed
and
to
their
bees.
Bees like them.
People feed bananas to their bees.
Chug hive alive.
I gotta but before we forget, can I do something here just for a second? If you guys don't care. Okay. Well, I gotta catch my breath here. Hold on. Okay. Oh, I gotta. Well, see, I can't. I'm gonna wait for my mic here. Look.
Oh.
Now,
wow! I like it.
We got somebody made us some handmade shirts. Like, they did all the work on doing the cricket thing and cutting all the stuff out. So, yeah.
Wow.
So that was pretty awesome. But we sometimes do this like little mail call thing. And since I'm so bad on, I want to apologize. If anyone watches our channel and haven't seen a lot of videos coming out, it's not because I don't love you or I don't love making videos. I was thinking about it today. It's really hard to do all the work on the farm and capture it. And so I thought, anyways, so if you don't see stuff, it's not because I don't care. It's because I just can't, there's just no extra time. But however, what I was trying to do with some of the videos to do this like little mail call thing, right? Because folks send us stuff to our PO box, and it's like really cool. And so I just want to say thanks. So if you guys don't care, I've got a couple things that came in the mail. One of them, I don't know who they came from because I didn't see the outside of the packaging, so they just sat here on my desk. But we did get this one. I'm gonna probably leave his address out. But you guys know this guy. First thing, let's play. See, Yappy was listening, so he's probably not watching. But I think the guy who sent this might be on here. Let's see. Okay, ready? Let's play a guessing game. Let's see if anyone in the comments can guess who sent this package.
I got the drum roll. Nice. Yeah. Look.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. So there's the first thing. I guess we got to put that. We'll put that right here next to the. Will it fit next to the Hives for Heroes thing? I don't know. Sorry, Justin Ruger. We're gonna put the what is that? A toucan? A parrot? Whatever that thing.
Is.
We're gonna put it there. I've always wanted a bird on my shoulder. Look. Sorry, I got cheap jokes all day. But anyways,
can you do this? Lean over so you can see the bird on your shoulder. Close one eye and go arr.
Arr. Are you even watching anymore? I doubt it.
Yeah. We're going to lose Bruce in a second.
Sorry, Bruce. You don't know what you got yourself into. Ready? Check this out.
What's going on now? What?
It's a hive tool. But it's not just any old hive tool.
What?
Let me open it up here.
It's got to be
now,
from...
So you got this.
Does it have nice paint on it? Yes.
No. Bruce, would you like to take a guess?
I'm going to think the Honeystead.
No,
it's not the Honeystead, but if she sends me a hive tool that's blaze orange, I'll definitely
Hilco, John Hill.
No, check this out. Let's see.
From your...
That's either from Tim or that's from Matt and Sarah.
Okay, so it's got the farm logo, but then it's got a you probably can't see it super good. It's me and my wife.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
They pulled from our website, laser engraved on there. And so we've got to give credit where it's due. It's from this outfit. Let's see.
Yep, Tim.
Thanks from Southwest.
Wow.
Ohio Bees.
Okay.
So Tim, thank you. Tim Bateson. Is that how you say the last name? I'm terrible with names. Oh, he just happened to put a card in here.
That is awesome.
That's Liberty Laser, Tim Bateson, Southwest Ohio Bees on the YouTube channel. So Tim, I thought that was pretty cool. The other thing I got, I have no idea. I didn't see who it came from, but
Is it opened?
No, it's not opened.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say it could be opened and autographed John.
Maybe repackaged it. Let's see. Nope. Look, it's thick. Ooh. You guys actually drank this stuff?
I did. Yeah. Shot.
Matt and Sarah.
Shot.
Yeah. So
Tim's in here.
So I don't know if whoever sent this, unfortunately, I threw it away. Wherever it came from. How does it taste? Oh boy. So yeah, have you guys put it in your coffee? Have you guys used this a lot?
I've used it.
Yeah,
I've used it. Yeah, they love it. They absolutely love it.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you guys think of it? Tastes pretty good.
I think it tastes good. It tastes just fine mixed with sugar water,
really?
like it's supposed to be used. Like with the bees, the way they drink it is pretty good. I don't know if the bees would touch it if it's like that.
Made in Ireland.
You have to dilute it.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's not fit for consumption.
Did you guys read the warning? It says right on here.
What's it say?
Not fit for human consumption.
What?
For feeding honeybees only. Keep out of reach of children. Avoid contact
Does it
with
say
skin.
that?
In case of skin contact, wash with plenty of water. In case of eye contact, rinse.
Well, hey, Greg.
If large quantities of this material are swallowed, call a physician.
Greg, mine's big.
Oh no. Try it. Oh.
You notice I don't have my bottle up here.
Look.
They're calling me chicken. What do you think, Brian?
Do it.
I'll drink my bottle if you drink yours.
For...
It's keto, Dan says. Old DJ Barracuda. What do you guys think? Should I try it? Should I try to drink this stuff?
Yeah,
I think you're volunteering to drink it. So,
does it say not fit for?
Oh God, no! Are you serious?
Look at this.
It smells like a spoiled pizza. Are those reading glasses? How smart you look all of a sudden.
You just yeah. It does not say that.
Mine does right there.
What?
Well, it doesn't. I can't do this thing. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to hold something up so you can read it. You could take my word for it.
They changed the label after Brian tried it.
Right. They probably watched that and thought, "Oh my gosh, are we supporting this guy?"
If someone gives Brian a super chat,
No, you don't. You guys don't have to do that, but you know,
If they give him a super
Yeah.
chat, maybe we'll have a chug contest.
no, I've already done that. Yeah,
You're not gonna do it again?
I feel like I would be.
Come on, I thought you would do
stealing-
anything for love or $1.99 super chat.
It's the Tide Pod
It's the
challenge.
Tide Pod
for
challenge.
me.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
That stuff's
that was
nasty.
good for you.
It smell. I don't mean to put the product down, but it does not smell like something you want to eat.
Yeah, you don't want to do it.
It smells like oregano. What's in this stuff?
I told John last week, I'm like, you don't want to do it. You're going to have PTSD. And he, yeah.
Well, it doesn't say what's in it.
I saw
Greg, you ate pizza that smelled like that? Three Boys Bees. If you smell this stuff, it smells like oregano.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the ingredients. Dried seaweed meal, water, thyme, lecithin, and lemon grass.
got it. Yeah, it
Look at that. Daniel Garrison just paid $1.99, Brian, to watch you drink that.
No, it's all you. I mean, you're look at this. Yeah, I don't know how to control
It's thyme.
it.
I thought it was oregano. How many ounces is this? 3.44 ounces.
Yeah, that's
Ready?
the 100 ml.
He's like chugging it. He is chugging it.
What?
Oh God.
You're gonna have to give me a minute.
Gosh. Gosh. He just dumped it. Ooh.
I think I'm dying. Oh my God.
Did he drink that whole thing?
Bruce, we just lost Greg.
Oh my gosh. For $1.99. Oh my goodness.
Doesn't that bottle cost like $25?
Oh man.
I'm dying. I'm dying. I can't take it.
I don't know if he's gonna be able to talk after that.
Wow. I tell you, I wouldn't recommend that.
Did you drink the whole thing? Or just one swig? He sure did. Was it full?
Yeah, it was full. It's pretty spicy. I tell you what, you know what would be better if you do that? I would not recommend anybody do that unless you have a 1 pound jar of honey from Brucesbees to wash it down with.
Look at this. Look at that.
How's that combo? Sour and sweet. Or
I
don't know
should
if it's
warn my
sour.
wife there might be a toilet full of worms later. That stuff is probably high test.
So you
Well,
did
it's good for the bee.
that.
It's good. It's good for the bee's gut. So maybe it is a.
Yeah.
Think about what it'll do for $5. Let's not even go there, Dan. $20 is $20.
Oh man, that's awesome. I think I was
Oh, my
about to
goodness.
lose it right there.
Man, that was
That's awesome.
That was classic. You guys are way more creative than I am. I would never think to do something like that.
Yeah.
The problem is we don't think. That's the thing. You just
That is.
Whew.
I wonder now.
That is nasty.
I told you it is.
Ooh,
It's probably worse than
spicy
acetose than
burps.
almond honey.
We should probably officially, since this is monetized, we should officially say don't try any of that at home.
Yeah.
But if you do, take a video
This is
and post it
done
to
by
Brian's channel.
this is done by professionals in a controlled environment.
Can you imagine being in the bee yard tomorrow, sweating up a storm, just smelling like that?
Oh. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's I gotta say it's not that bad with Bruce's honey in it afterwards.
Yeah, I just right here it is. Mikey, he'll try anything.
Anything for a cheap laugh.
Yeah.
Well, since the show has really gone downhill, what are you fellas up to in the bee yards? Where are you guys at right now? as far as where you have plans on thinking about where you're heading, what you're doing, and how things are looking?
I want to know how Bruce is. I mean, he supposedly he said, you know, his hobby yard and at his place was all tore up looking, but now he took it up a notch and said, hey, you know
classy.
what? Yeah, he got all classy. As I say here, he got bougie. He got all fancy.
Ooh.
You know,
I kind of did, but that's not going to happen anywhere else.
yeah, and Bruce went and got the Apiary. So I'm curious how, you know, those colonies are going to build out this year with those Apiaries, you know, down in the heat.
I'll just be honest. I really think that it depends on the bees more than it does the hives they're in. Just going to be honest with you. The Apiaries are a really good product. They don't beard as much in front of the Apiaries when they're full. I think they got better ventilation, and I'm sure they've got, you know, the heat and the cold don't affect them as much. The insulation's better. But they are much better looking. And in my backyard, I had just a mishmash of all kinds of stuff. And I had one Apiary that I got last year or 2 years ago, actually, that the bees they've lived in it the whole time. The genetics weren't that great in those bees, I guess, because they've been a little weak, but they've just survived. They have never died out. They've swarmed. They've made new queens. They've just been kind of survivor bees. But at the Hive Life conference, I obtained actually Apiary let me have a 7-frame nuke of theirs to try out. And it's basically the same principle as the bigger one. It's just a smaller version. And I've been playing with that thing. And I just looked out, and I've been wanting to do this really ever since I bought that first one. And I just decided, I'm like, I'm going to pull the trigger. And so I went ahead and just bought 3 of the full-size ones, double deep, with 2 honey supers, and 2 more of the 7-frame nukes. And that was not a cheap purchase by any stretch. And but I've got the bees in there. The video, I'm working on it now. Actually, last night I worked on it some, and it'll be coming out hopefully in the next 2 or 3 days. And you can see how they look. I basically kind of talk about the hive, go through it briefly, and then we just put some bees in there. And talking about now, Brian, you said you had not been stung. If you would have been down here that day, you probably would have got stung. On that last hive, it was a triple deep, and they were just packed with bees. So I'm excited about it. You know, it's not something that's realistic for me to get a whole bunch of those, but it's kind of a, you know, you leave my backyard here and everything else is on pallets or in wooden boxes, or a lot of them are old beat up wooden boxes. And it's just like most other people who are trying to grow and get big in beekeeping. But just, I've kind of got my bee stuff set up in 2 or 3 different things. I've got my backyard hobby apiary, which I kind of try to treat a little bit like, you know, the version of you down here, Brian, with some hives back here, just trying to treat them as hobbyists might do it. I got my commercial type stuff, my true sideliner type stuff with the pollination stuff. And then I have what I call production hives in my permanent yards, where I try to build those up. And currently they're on hive stands like what a lot of other people do. And so I've kind of got 3 things going, plus I'm trying to split, and just, I'm all over the place all the time. If you watch my channel, you know that I don't really have a set goal for what I want to do, but I'm always just trying to build everything. And so that's kind of what I'm doing in my backyard with the Apiaries. But stay tuned. I'll be getting a video out soon. Hopefully. It was way too much footage, as I always do. So it's making it real difficult to edit it down into something that people want to watch. But it's real. I see Terry Chapman on here. I definitely had his jacket on during that.
I love his jacket.
Yeah, I like the pullover jacket. For me, it's so easy. You just pull it over your head, and I know most people get the zip up one, which is probably a little bit fancier and in some ways maybe nicer. I don't know, but I like the pullover. You just pull it over your head, and it does have the veil you can unzip. Although I will tell you this, it seems like I've had his jackets for a couple of years now, and I always forget at least once in a day after I get a drink to zip that joker back up. And it's always when I'm in the middle of a crazy hive, I get about 5 or 6 bees, it seems like, in that dang veil with me, and then I have to walk away and try to open it up and let the bees out. And they usually don't actually sting me very, you know, most of the time they just kind of crawl around, but that is very disconcerting when bees are crawling all over your face. they want to get out of that thing as bad as I want them out, but they just don't know how until I unzip it and get away from it. Because if you open it up and the other bees are flying around, they just come right in and join the ones that are in there. So you got to get away from them. But I cannot remember to zip that darn thing up.
Terry's on. Is he Terry's on here? I got a jacket from him at Hive Life, and I love it. And now my little beekeeping buddy Luke, I gotta get with Terry. I guess I could go to his website. Maybe I'll go to his website and look here real quick. I need to see if they have kid sizes. I need to order a bunch for the kids.
Yeah,
I like them that much. Let's see.
I would think, Bruce, as far as and the hobbyist, if you're just a hobbyist, and Blue Jacket on here, that's the one and only Chuck Norris. He got some Apamays, but I think for the hobbyist, if you're only going to have a couple colonies, those Apamays, if you just look at the longevity as far as the equipment, and you're not having to deal with the wood, if you don't have access to wax dipping and you're having to paint and things like that, over time you're going to have to replace that woodenware. Those Apamays, I can't see to where they're going to break down. I can't see, I can't foresee having any issues there. So
yeah,
I think for the hobbyist, you probably made the best decision there for your hobby yard.
It is. It's fine. And they're a little bit different dimensions. Now the inside of the box is the same, but if you're going to build a hive stand, I used to just kind of have mine sitting on cinder blocks, but they're too wide for that. So you got to have your stand needs to be a little bit bigger. You just got to kind of set things up a little bit differently with them. But the one that's 2 years old, it's just like new. Now it's got a lot of propolis and stuff on the inside. That hive that's been a survivor colony never has gotten very big, but man, they know how to put down propolis. They have glued everything together in there.
Oh, wow.
Also, it has faded a little bit in color, but not much. But it just, you can't tell by the wear. There's no wear on it. You can't even, if you look at it from the outside, besides that, it looks brand new. I mean, the quality of the materials is just phenomenal. And so, and when you pull the trays out and stuff, everything still fits together nicely. And so it's 2 years old, right at 2 years old, almost 2 years old. And you almost can't even, besides the dirt on it and the stuff, just the living outside on it, it's really in good. Mm-hmm. And Mike asked about the ones in the direct sunlight. Mine is pretty much in the direct sunlight, and it hasn't had, it still looks almost like it's brand new.
They also have white ones. Mine's white. Yeah. Maybe that would help too.
Well, I will add, on Apamay's website, it does say in hotter climates they direct you towards the white and not the tan.
Yeah.
So it says right on their website. So
I like the color of the tan better, but
yeah,
it's been no problem so far anyway. But yeah, that's the story on that. We'll see.
Awesome.
We're gonna, I've got an Apamay playlist, and so I'm gonna try and just, when I'm in my backyard, I'll be in my Apamays.
Yeah.
I'm just playing with the little nukes. They're just kind of an intermediate size. And so I don't know. I'm just trying to figure those things out a little bit. There's all kinds of things you can do with them.
Yeah.
But I just haven't figured it out yet. So I got bees in all three of them. So we'll see how it works.
Yeah.
But three frames is not much. 3 frames is not much space. So they grow into that very quickly.
I'm almost going to take on the role of Greg Burns here, because Greg is excellent. He transitions into these topics.
Is this a stellar segue from Brian?
So when watch this, Greg, you're going to crack up. So Bruce, what you could almost say there, because you have multiple yards, is your hobby yard that you have there is almost like an experimental yard.
Sure, you can call it that.
And I know that Greg here is setting up this new shop and, this new yard, and is going to have, this little learning yard, so talking about different yards.
Brian, that was so seamless and flawless. If I was taking a sip of coffee and I tuned out for a second, that was so smooth. I wouldn't hit the speed bump. That was,
yeah.
It's funny you should mention, because I tell you what, today, I got to keep bragging on my buddy Luke. 7 years old, and that dude is just, I mean, he is. Anyways, Luke and I, he was helping me in the bee yard yesterday, and actually for 2 days in a row. So yesterday we went over to the old farm, and over where the sawmill was, we have some stacks of wood, and we had a whole stack of white oak, 2 by like 10 and a half, 11 by 16 footers, and they've been sitting there. And I thought, well, as Brian mentioned, for our bee customers who are buying nukes and packages, I'm sure there's a couple here in the comments. I know Anel from NKY Honeybees. He's going to come up and see me, I think Monday actually. But we're offering some hands-on learning for free for our customers, and here at the new farm, and in the learning yard, we took those 16-foot white oak boards and made just one giant stand. So on one stand, it's a 16-foot stand. We'll have an Apiary. We'll have one of our Nature's Image Farms wax dipped hive kits. So anyone who bought those can watch us exactly how it grows. We'll have an 8-framer, and then we'll have a 5-framer. And speaking of wax dipping, Trails in Farm, Randy Reed. Oh, Randy's from my bee club. Hey, Randy. He's the one that actually gave me those lineman's gloves, and those work out great for wax dipping. I haven't deep fried my fingers yet. Have I ever wax dipped anything made out of OSB? I have dipped solid pine. I have dipped all kind of concrete boards, all kinds of plywood, cheese boards. What else have we wax dipped? And even Advantic flooring. Advantic.
Wow.
It's just the 3 of us here, right?
It's just 3 people.
Can I speak candidly?
Yeah, it's just 3 people.
Advantic is hot garbage. Did I say that out loud? I did say that out loud. I'm sorry. Advantic was beautiful material for the first year. And then the second year, it starts to swell. And then the third year now, it's starting to absolutely fall apart. The only piece of Advantic subflooring that's working is stuff that sees no weather or was wax dipped. So I'm going to tie it back into there. I did wax dip some of those, and those are the only ones so far that are kind of holding up. But that's just one of those, you get, that's one of those things. As we're setting up all the new yards at the new place, on one hand, you're like, man, how did we build all this equipment? You just there's so much equipment that you kind of forget about until it's stacked up and you go to move it around. And now I'm moving around these bottom boards from Advantic and the lids and everything else, and it's absolutely falling apart. So I think the question was it if I wax dipped OSB?
OSB.
Well, Advantic is definitely stouter than standard OSB, and even that's not holding out. After 3, I need something that's going to last more than 3 years for sure, and it's absolutely falling apart on me. I don't think there's even a good way to really wax dip something like OSB or Advantic, just because you're talking about many layers of formaldehyde adhesive and Oriental strand board. It's those strands that are sandwiched together. It's going to be really hard to get wax deep. You get a surface penetration for sure. But the reason why I like doing plywood or solid wood is you can get into that end grain, and even on a ply that's sandwiched or a balanced ply, you can get it into that cell structure and have it actually pull it in and get a deeper penetration. I think it makes a lot of sense. I tell you, I've got some, this is not a name drop, but I think it was last year, to get the type of drones and an extra boost in genetics, I went down and saw Bob Benny and brought back a bunch of singles because they had drones in them. Well, some of those boxes were really, really old. And Bob said, hey, these are just so you know, these are old boxes. Here's the thing, blah, blah, blah. But what they had was a lot of older HDO lids. And HDO is those concrete form boards with that melamine layer. And those are top notch. Those are absolutely stellar. And those ones were probably already 5-6 years old at least. And they are beautiful. I mean, they are awesome. The problem with that right now is that it's everything expensive. That HDO right now is $100 a sheet. And so by the time you start factoring cutting out 10 frame lids or bottoms with it, it gets to be really expensive. So if you have OSB, if you have that stuff laying around, it will work. If it's free cuts from a job site, anything in it, and you only need 2 or 3 years out of it, by all means, you use whatever you have. In no way am I saying just because I think Advantic's hot garbage you shouldn't use it. I just even then 3 years ago, Advantic was still $34-$35 a sheet at the cheapest. I think I would have been better off with marine grade ply and then painting them, and then now wax dippings. Wax dipping's a completely different story. Anyways, I'm just I'll just keep sidetracking on that. So it's getting towards the end of the night and I'm losing it. So I forgot where I was. I'm just lost all of a sudden.
We're at the learning yard.
Oh, the learning yard. Bruce, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to say I've still got some HDO. That's what I started with when I first had bees. And even you think about it, though, at $100 a sheet, if you can get 10 lids out of a sheet, that's not too bad.
And if it lasts 5 or 6 years,
it lasts. Some of mine's 10 years old, later 10 years old. Now some of it's starting to peel up on the corners. But now I've also got some MDO, which is painted. I don't know, it may be a little bit less expensive, but it's also a concrete form board.
It is exterior grade. Yeah, it's still good stuff.
And I've only had that a couple of years. I got it from the bee house down in Florida, and so it's similar type stuff, but I just don't know if it's quite as tough as HDO. But it seems like really good stuff. So
a lot of it's the startup is what gets everybody. And now there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to be listening to this just cussing us because they're saying I use OSB and it's been great. It probably is, but there's something you have to keep in mind. Not every product is manufactured to the same specifications in all the parts of the country. There are variances in different codes and grades of products to meet the building markets. And so what I have found is that Advantic was awesome the first year or two, and now 3, 4. Now I think I'm definitely the 6-year-old stuff is bad. The 6 and 7-year-old stuff is so heavy, it's so waterlogged and falling apart. To where this will be the last year that I use that. And where I like to use that OSB or the Advantic, was in nukes. I like to use them for bottom boards and for lids, and they were flat and they were tight and they were clean and they were awesome. But there's now just starting to swell so bad and start to fall apart, and they're heavy. They are so heavy. They're heavier than even newer HDO. They are extremely heavy and they're soaking wet. They're taking on a lot of moisture now. So maybe I did something wrong with it. Things change, products change, kind of what we want. That's a conversation for another night. But if you think about where you were at mentally when you got started, it was, I don't have any money. The bees aren't making any money. So what can I do to get into beekeeping and build equipment? Because there was never enough equipment. So if that being said, would I've done it all over again and still bought Advantic? I would have, but now as I got a little bit of experience and feedback from that, investing moving forward looks a little bit different. And like Bruce said, if you can get more years out of things, when Bob and I were down traveling, Florida, visiting everybody, when we were down to see John Knox at Knox Honey Farms down in Florida, John showed me a box that was 30 years old at that point, that his dad had wax dipped, and it was exterior ply.
Wow.
That was wax dipped. To me, if that can withstand going back and forth from Florida to Wisconsin, and he just now had to pull it out of rotation to put a couple staples in it and re-wax it, those are the kind of things that as I move forward, I want to start to mimic or mirror those kind of things. Right. Yes, like Bruce said, even if it costs you $100 for a sheet, if those lids and bottoms are going to last you 7 to 10 years at least, it makes sense. And I tell you what I really love, those singles that I got from Bob. Bob is not only is he an all-around great guy, but he's a craftsman. He spent a lot of time woodworking even before beekeeping. And so when Bob builds things, when you have a whole stack of these boxes on a truck or lined up, they're precise. They're all the same. They stack the same. They're the same width, front to back, on top. And I thought, man, there is something to be said about as you grow, creating some uniformity within your system, whether not only just like, feeding and things like that, but if the boxes are the same, the lids are the same, the bottoms are the same, it really is nice. So now I find myself starting to, I have it now. I would have never said this a year or two ago. I now have a call pile. I have a pile of stuff that is just so wonky that I've been putting up with this, or I was making lids a certain way, or for a certain quart jar, or this, that, that every time I get to that piece of equipment in one of the yards, I'm thinking, oh my God, this thing again. So now rather than keep stumbling over those things, that's it. It's going into a pile. And then that's it. But that's kind of the thing about, you have to keep in mind, as you grow a bee yard, as you grow a business, you're going to phase out things. You're going to phase through. You're going to learn. You're going to get some feedback. You're going to start to tune up your system. That's how Bob Benny got to be Bob Benny. It wasn't because he figured all this out in the first 5 or 10 years. It was decades of trial and error and seeing what works. So anyways, that is a whole, I just, like I always say, it's a whole conversation for a different night. But
I know it's been brought up before on our chats, but you want to look at those guys that are out there that are doing this to feed their family. And if those commercial guys out there are wax dipping and doing these certain things, they have uniform boxes, equipment, everything across the board. Well, they're doing that for a reason. You know,
it's interesting. I see the comment by Bob at Walker Bee Ranch, cut them down for feeder shims. I believe that idea, at least where I first heard it, was from Mike Berry. His boxes, as they begin to get older, he cuts them down. I don't know if it's an inch or inch and a half or whatever. He cuts it down to for feeder shims when he feeds his bees. And so I thought that was a good idea. And I was actually going through my boxes with my wife Monday and kind of trying to get an inventory, trying to figure out what I'm going to do in the next few weeks as this thing explodes. And I had some old kind of semi-rotting boxes that I told her I'm going to cut those down for shims. Some of the lids, some of those old HDO lids are starting to kind of peel up at the corners. I'm like, well, I can cut those down, make them more narrow to be lids for nukes. And so I'm just kind of starting to think about recycling some of that stuff instead of throwing it all in the burn pile, which I've done in the past.
Yeah, but they were great for sure. Like a lot of us will take our wonky boxes and cut them down. That's it wasn't until this year have I used decent material for shims. Every shim that I ever have here was just from the older stuff. A lot of the first round of equipment that I inherited as part of that, I'll trade you pork for equipment deal way back in the day. I ended up just cutting all those down to 2-inch shims or just whatever the more divisible increment between a box was, and they were great. As a matter of fact, even my the feeding shims that I use for dry sugar are just was cutting those down. Here's another little tip. If you have a wood shop and you're building your own stuff, and if you are using something like you need a patty rim, or you're using something like Apigard and you need a little bit of a distance above your frames, you can certainly take the time to run scrap material through and make you all kinds of 3/4 by 3/4 pieces of wood, a surround, right? Or here's what I think makes even more sense. It might cost you a box, but take a good square box that's the dimensions of all the stuff that you're using, staple it, and save that table saw blade, the one that's missing a tooth or two, that you don't quite use on all your good stuff, but use that as a sacrificial blade, and then run that box through your table saw and cut those 3/4 shims right off of that box. Reason being, the box is already assembled. It's already squared. It's already ready to go. And all you're doing is zipping it through, cutting those shims, rather than cutting all the 3/4 by 3/4 and trying to get 4 corners to be square and to line up and to staple it. A lot of times when you make a little 3/4 inch piece, if you don't pre-drill, you're going to start splitting and it's going to be a headache and they're not going to be square and this, that, and the other thing. But if you take a box, especially a finger joint box, take a finger joint box that's stapled from both sides and run that through your table saw, those dudes are legit. They're ready to go. They're square. You stack them up when you're done. They stay true. I've been doing a lot of that. The other thing I did is I bought a lot of cheese boards, which is a exterior grade. It's a treated ply that has already been wax dipped, and those were just scraps. And I built boxes with those, and then ran those through the table saw to make all of my bigger feeding shims that I use on my 10 framers. You find ways to make it work to where it doesn't cost you so much money. But anyways. See, guys, you got to stop me. I love some of this woodworking stuff. I'll just go all night talking about it.
Matt and Sarah here had a question regarding wax dipping. Will a 24 by 24 by 24 work for dipping? And then Pharmacy Seeds Network, asked how much wax do you need, and then right after that, Scott here, how much does it
Cost probably.
To
Probably
get okay.
cost.
does it cost to get set up? So just going down that wax dipping,
Yeah.
the short story of everything there. I mean, I would imagine you could probably use any kind of a tank, but as long as a 24 by 24 by 24, I think as long as you could dip a box.
I don't know that I could afford to dip in a tank that big. That's huge. That's not true. So first things, will that tank work? Anything.
No,
If you can heat it up and you can get a portion of a box in it, it'll work. Our first tank we had to flip. It'll do mediums. It's way better for lids and bottoms, inner covers, shims, because it's boom, just stack them in there and go. It'll do mediums in one shot. Deeps I have to flip, which isn't that big a deal. But I'll say this: I've been talking about Bob a lot tonight, but I learned so much on that trip last year when we were down visiting the Werners. You know what they use? You probably heard me talk about it. What they use, what a commercial outfit who runs 3,000 to 5,000 colonies migratory from Wisconsin to Florida. You know how advanced that their wax dipping setup is?
huh?
Can anybody guess? A
Probably not
55-gallon steel drum with a honey band on the bottom. Did you
Hmm.
hear that? A $50 steel drum and a $360 220-volt Man Lake honey band, a drum heater. That's the thing is you can do anything. Like
Yeah.
I think that we had to take the video off our YouTube channel. But the whole pig butchery videos, when we're showing scalding and scraping of a pig, that's exactly what we use, is a steel drum on top of a turkey burner with water inside, and we get up the temperature, then we scald our pigs in that. Same concept. You can do that same exact thing even for wax. If you just keep in mind, wax is extremely flammable, so do something to protect the wax from hitting flames, or you're going to have a flare up.
Is there, as far as the wax, now I know there's all kind of different discussions out there probably on it, but as far as the actual wax, um, I saw, one talk where they said, well, they just, they use just 100% beeswax, but do you have to use, what is it, paraffin?
So back in the day, the Werners would throw anything that would melt in there, and that stuff lasted forever. Of course, they've changed that over decades of doing it. But you can use paraffin. I tell you what I like is paraffin's cheaper. It's a lot less money than microcrystalline. Microcrystalline's a little bit finer of a particle. If you consider like clay soil versus like a sandy soil, if you look at a sandy soil, let's say we were to microscopically fill a coffee cup of a sandy soil, and we go down in microscope and look, let's say that looks like that might look like basketballs inside of there, larger size volume.
Yeah.
The clay soil is finer particles, so it would be like having golf balls inside that same vessel. It's a much tighter, smaller particle. What that means is when you I think it's a way higher quality finished product the more microcrystalline that you use. It's just because of not only how it dissolves, but how easy it can transfer through via capillary action down the cells through the wood fiber itself. I think it penetrates quicker. It doesn't nearly take me as long to dip stuff, and I think mine's nearly all microcrystalline. I thought I bought a 75-25 blend. It turns out that that might be 100% microcrystalline, that they misspoke when I picked it up. It doesn't matter. It works great. It's just more expensive, and I think it's a little bit better of a product. How long does it take? A 24 by 24 by 24? Oh man, if you can put something like that together, you're in there. There's nothing you can't do in that. I can't let the cat out of the bag quite yet, but our old buddy DJ Barracuda is an excellent fabricator, and just fabricated a new tank for us here at the farm that him and I will be dipping stuff in, and it's way bigger. The only problem with way bigger is it's deeper for you to have to go down and get stuff and then get it out. And it also costs you a lot more money to fill.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only thing for my smaller tank. I think mine's maybe 24 by 48 by probably 8 to 10 inches deep. But you don't fill it up all the way because it'll overflow with foam and things. I think that cost me about 400 pounds or so of wax to get that rascal going. And I think it was $160, $170 for a 66-pound box of that. So it adds up. You're going to have $500-$600 minimum to get started on a small setup, plus the price of whatever you're using. So you need to probably factor in about $1,500 to get started. But if those boxes, I don't like painting. The kids liked it, but it was a mess. Doesn't last as long. Anyways, I can keep going. There's a question here.
Greg, I had a question about the foam. Oh, I'm sorry. What do you do to deal with the foam? How do you deal with that?
I just leave enough issues. I just leave enough headspace. What I am going to try is, has anybody before I say, has anybody in the comments ever made maple syrup? Is anybody? No. We'll see.
I'd like to.
There was a question here. You use paraffin only. I don't know is that to us or somebody else? No, it's mostly microcrystalline with very little. So when you're making maple syrup, you get this thing that happens, right? Boy, that's another story for another night, another homesteading live chat. Anyways, after you spend 2 days of boiling down your first run of maple syrup, it's over. Now you're in almost 48 hours and you're tired. You're trying to stay awake, and it's 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, and you doze off, and all of a sudden you smell burnt candy, and you look down, and your entire evaporator is foamed up and frothing and just puking out the side. All that syrup you just made is now on your gravel driveway. You're excited because you go in and you tell your wife, "Honey, we just made syrup." The problem is it's all over the ground. That's a problem. But a trick that we learned from an old timer is if you take a stick of butter and you run that stick of butter through the foam, whether it's the fat or the proteins, something in the butter causes the foam to go down immediately. So I'm going to actually try my next round of dipping, which will be, I don't think I'll get to this week before we leave for our bee runs and such. But the following week, when I get back to dipping, I might take a stick of butter and just see what happens.
Yeah.
The wetter, the more material you put in there that has the higher moisture content, that's what's causing the foaming. It seems. If I take boxes that I've already air dried for a year and dip those, they don't hardly foam at all. But if I take a fresh box that I just assembled and then dip it, those foam worse. So I think it has to do with moisture being pushed out of the box, causing it to foam. So I'm gonna try a stick of butter. And if you're a butter aficionado, I'm not using Kerrygold. I'm not going to do it. That would be sacrilegious. Anyways,
someone had a question about propolis and wax. Does it prevent the buildup of propolis? I haven't noticed any difference at all in the wax dip boxes. It doesn't really. The bees treat it the same way. There's no real difference in how they how they manage it.
Yeah, interesting.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
You know, what is a bee run?
Look at this guy, Bruce. I mean, Brian is just 100% on point, like with just navigating. He's just navigating us through the conversational waters, just like a ship out at sea.
Bruce, have you ever heard of a bee run?
I have not heard of a bee run. So I don't know what it is.
I mean, I know.
Have you ever heard of a? Have you?
I'm not even sure. You could probably clip their wings and hold a torch behind them, and you'd see a bee run.
Make them run.
But I don't think that's the kind of bee run that Greg's talking about tonight.
You know, you've heard of a poker run.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is like that. You know, this is how me and Dan and my son Jake, that's how we get our excitement. Similar to a beer run, BEERUN, sort of, but not really. So the bee run is
digressing.
It's easy. This is just a laid back, casual show. If it has to be on point scientific communication here, well, you're probably at the wrong show.
Yeah.
Bee run is well, go ahead, Brian. Were you going to say something there?
No,
I've got a little bit of latency here on my internets, sir.
A beer run or a beer run.
You're on keto too. You got beer on the brain.
Oh man!
If you put the two words together, it is beer run or beer run. A beer run.
So
I never knew that.
Those that
Look
don't
at this guy.
know, Greg will have, I don't even know the number of packages in the back of in a, what is it, like a horse
A Honda
trailer?
Z50. So I'm driving this little mini, and then Dan's on the back, and Dan just carries the packages, and we just cruised from Georgia all the way back to Ohio, just carrying as many packages. Like it's kind of like Dumb and Dumber, we just hop on together, we just cruise across the country.
I hear what you're saying now. Yeah,
that's
so
pretty much
bee
what
run means a bee run means you deliver bees.
Yeah,
or you pick up bees. You're running bees
Bruce,
around.
Bruce just gets
it
right
also,
to it. I think he's tired of the nonsense.
I think it'd also be, if you want to go get some bees, you're going on a bee run. Like if I wanted to
go on a bee
Ohio,
run. That's
if I wanted to go to Ohio, I can get bees from you. I could make a run up to Ohio and get some bees.
You can. We could make a run out to California to see our old buddy Jose Uribe out there. We could
just take a little detour out of California.
Little detour with the price of fuel right now at nearly $5 a gallon for diesel. I don't think we'd be taking that. I probably would be on the Z50. So that's a long ride back for someone to be sitting behind me on that thing.
Those
anyways.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you first. I'm just here for the coffee.
I was going to say, those that don't know, when you do pick up the packages and go through, I know you have a bunch of stops, but you hit where Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, what all states do you drop?
Funny that you should ask, Brian. The first thing I want to say is that a part of our business plan here at the farm is to, drum roll, and it's going to sound outlandish, is to be in the black. I know it's a farm, and we try to be in the black financially so we can afford to do the things that we want to do on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
One of the opportunities that we have experienced and what we do is, no matter which way you cut it, it doesn't matter what your opinion is on packages or nukes or swarms. It doesn't matter. The thing is, there is a market for packages. Folks want packages. And so there's a niche and there's a need. And we have developed a program. We've developed a way of going down and picking up a bunch of packages and delivering them to a bunch of different states. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it helps cash flow our farm early in the year, which puts us in a position financially to do all the things that we want to do as we grow our bee yard. Mm-hmm. So we go down, we pick up 3-pound packages from Georgia. And in the past, we've delivered to Georgia and Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. And we've done that for many years now. This year, we've done things a little bit different, Brian. Oh. We've actually, we do 2 routes, but the first route is just to deliver here to the farm. So everybody comes right here to the farm and they pick up their packages. Some are driving from all different kind of states away to pick up and then go. But then our second route is we tried to focus more locally. So our packages, we will deliver to Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, and then the last stop is back in Zanesville, and that's later on in a couple weeks. But that's what a bee run is. Just like Bruce said, in 3 seconds, I just spent 8 minutes and 42 seconds explaining the long way around that. But that's what it is. And we also used to deliver nukes across Ohio. So for folks that didn't want to come to us, we would come to them. As the bee yard's grown and our everything is kind of shaped and been and kind of tweaked a little differently, we those are just for local pickup here at the farm in Zanesville. But that's a part of the thing that we've done. We focus primarily on raising and selling nukes and queens, and that's just a part of our financial portfolio to keep us in the black, so we can continue doing the things that we love. Are we passionate and in love with packages? I mean, they have a purpose. Packages, a lot of folks would like to argue this, but packages are not the bane of existence. They're not as evil as folks play them out to be. A lot of folks will blame packages on survivability issues. They'll blame packages on performance. While there certainly are nuances to packages, pros and cons, and those things can have a small factor into that. A poorly mated queen, for instance, an early queen who didn't get made, sure. But I have found a lot of use for packages in a lot of unconventional ways. And a lot of folks have too. So they have a purpose. Do I prefer nukes? I do. For someone who's a beginning beekeeper getting into beekeeping, I would 100% recommend nukes over packages, just because it's a full picture, ready to go. Everyone knows each other. They're just ready to boom, go like gangbusters. But a lot of folks right now, I've talked with folks all across the country, especially the last 2 days. And I'm talking primarily from St. Louis to the shores of Maryland. Folks are seeing the same exact thing. Folks are losing 70 and 80% of their colonies this year. And here's the common theme. The common theme is the colonies are loaded full of honey. No bees, no dead bees, no nothing. Complete gone. Nobody's home, and the boxes are completely full. And so the other thing they're seeing is just mounds of dead bees on the bottom board. We have a situation where I think mites are getting so bad and so out of control. It doesn't matter where they come from. If it's a package, a nuke, a swarm, a bee tree, they're all getting affected. And we're having a lot of folks are trying to look at what we can do better about that. Anyways, where was I going with that? Nowhere, in a hurry. But hey, the price was right. You got what you paid for. I'll just keep blabbing on.
You know, I'll say for those on here, if you're anywhere, if you go to Greg's site, Nature's Image, if you go on there and you're in that route that he delivers the packages, it's what I got last year to start over. And, now mine all had drawn, I had drawn comb. I had frames that had honey in them, had, pollen, everything like that. So when I started my packages last year, it was basically dumping bees in a set up, hive. Those packages literally took off. They're very, as far as the temperament of them, and I'll be excited to see when you get some of Greg's queens, some of Jose's queens, just to see, to get the varied genetics, into your bee yard. But temperament, I know the ones I got from Greg last year. I mean, everybody sees my videos. I mean, when I do my intro, a lot of times I sit in between two of the hives
in shorts,
and they're landing on me and they're grooming themselves. And I'm reaching over and putting my hand at an entrance so that they can walk on my hand and I can hold them up to the camera. Very mild temperament on them.
That's an important thing. We've mentioned my buddy Lukey, my wife and I, we have 7 kids, and we all play a part in the bee yard. I got to have genetics. I got to have bees that the kids are comfortable being around. For number one, I need the help in the bee yard. But number two, I want to facilitate an experience for the kids that they are not dreading going out and working bees, or they're not afraid that they're going to get attacked by bees and things like that. My kids are more afraid of stink bugs than they are of honeybees, and that's because we're ruthless. And I got to watch how I say this, because I feel like I've got a special relationship with our bees. But if a queen looks at me sideways, okay, maybe her or me having a bad day. But if she does that twice, no, it's not happening. If she's lucky, maybe she'll go to an isolated out yard somewhere way away from everything. But I just don't take those chances. I want to make sure that folks have gentle, prolific bees that overwinter well. That's where we kind of focus on. So, like you said, packages are awesome, because if you have a dead out, like right now, there's a lot of people buying packages because the number one reason, I think Tim commented earlier, packages are a great learning experience too, because you can see what the bees do from absolutely nothing, and you can do it early in the year before you can catch swarms, before you can really buy nukes, or make any kind of splits. So they facilitate a learning experience that nothing else really does in that context. If you have dead outs and think about how much money you have in a hive, a colony that's full of drawn comb, even if it's just one 10-frame single that's all drawn out. Get a package, throw a package on top of there, and now, Are they your first choice of bee genetics? Maybe, maybe not. But the thing is, they're protecting all that comb. You're not going to have hive beetles or wax moths destroy it. If there's any kind of residues, if there's any kind of protein residues on those honeycombs, and you wait until June to get a nuke or May to get a nuke, you're going to be in for a really sad surprise on what happens to those resources, because there is no waste in nature, and they will find a way to use that up and sometimes make a mess. But do I like nukes? Of course. It's a one-stop shop. Everything's ready to go. Boom, they hustle. But I've told you guys before, I am the absolute worst bee salesperson, because I will try to make sure someone actually needs a queen before I send them one. If they just want a package or they just want a nuke, I'll talk to them a little bit and see what is a good fit for them. We sell nukes here. You know, it's in our financial interest to sell nukes, but packages still have a purpose. And I kid you not when I say that I have seen package queens from Georgia see -5 over winter and could care less. Okay. And I have seen the darkest, blackest bee that has lived 3 or 4 years in Ohio die. Do the genetics and the traits and those expressions, do they matter? To a certain extent, but the quality of the queen and how it's reared is the most important thing. And when you talk to guys who have done this for a living for decades, like the Werners, they'll tell you, sure, genetics matter, but what matters more is the quality of the queen rearing over the genetic or the trait or the race of bee. So anyways, that being said, I don't know why I feel like I'm going on a soapbox today on so many things.
You're going.
You'll have to just forgive me there. I'm just we're busy right now trying to get everything done, and I'm just fried. Like, I'm just so fried. We're leaving first thing. We're leaving at 4:00 in the morning on Saturday, and we're going to drive down to Creston, North Carolina, to see our friends Ricky Rourke at Horizontal Bees. Him and his wife have built a custom horizontal hive for us, so we're going to go down and pick that up, and then we'll make our way down to get the packages. First thing Sunday morning, head right back with them. And so in the meanwhile, there's just this whole thing of now we have a new farm, all these new yards, consolidating all the old yards off the old property so we can sell them. And anyways, yep. This is me rambling. Bruce, take it away.
Nice.
Well, I'm excited to try your queens. I've got some coming from Jose doing splits this weekend. I'll be putting those in some hives hopefully next Tuesday or Wednesday. And he sent me a picture. He's excited about what he's doing, and he's putting a lot of work into it, a lot like you are, I think, Greg, trying to develop just really good quality queens. And every time I talk to him, he's doing everything. Sounds like he's doing it right. But he sent me I don't know if you can see this picture. You can't see it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I see it.
He was out catching queens, and that's one of his hybrids, and that's the kind I ordered. And so
I ordered the hybrid.
And then I'm going to try yours out in June. I get quite a few of those from you in June, and I appreciate, you getting my order in on that. So that order is here. So I don't know, June is about when we harvest honey, and then it's, let's just try and survive the rest of the summer and get through till next spring after about June or July down here. And so I look forward to putting them in there, and by then I'll probably have some weak or old queens kind of singled out that I can replace. And also I don't know if I'll be doing a lot of splits, then we'll just see how things look, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited about trying some new stuff this year. And, I usually last year I did almost all my splits with cells. I've already done some with cells, but this year I'm going to do more between you and Jose, quite a few mated queen splits, and see how it goes. But
it's a good move diversifying your genetics, because you can see what different things. I think Jose's doing, like if they're a hybrid, maybe they're like a Carniolan Italian hybrid. I'm not sure what the exact cross is there. I mean, those are awesome. Those have so many benefits. Of no matter which way you go with that, what we're running primarily are the Caucasian Carniolans that came from Bob and those Sioux Kobe breeders. So it'll be fun because you'll have two, different type of bees, bringing them in your yard, seeing what happens, and then letting them go to town. And you might be able to now start making queens using queen cells or doing some grafting, Bruce, off of that combination stock that works really well for you. If they're calm and they're prolific, hey, if these bees are calm and they're prolific and they make it through the winter, I could care less what name you call them. I don't care.
Appalachian
That's the thing. Appalachian mutts. That's what ours are called. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I want to show you if I can pull it up here. What my most
obviously
I'm wanting to, and my bees actually they're not. I mean they're getting fired up and feisty a little bit, but nothing like they were a couple of months ago, which is usually what happens for some reason. And if you're going in January and February here, they are just every year they seem to be nasty. But this is kind of my standard right here of what I'm looking for. Let me see if I can.
Grammy's midwife said they're the poison control. Don, she missed out. We you have to go back and check out what happened. What you got there, Bruce?
Oh wow,
that is my. Oh come on!
I wish I could see what that was.
It's bees.
Oh man,
that's a good box of them.
This is what's coming in my Apiary video. That's just the top box.
Sneak peek. You saw it here first.
Oh my god!
Oh, there it is. No, don't move. Don't move, Bruce. Freeze. Hold it right there.
Yeah. Stay right there, Bruce.
Don't move. No. To your left. Other left. To my left or Brian's?
Oh my gosh.
Sure. Anyway, that's kind of the standard. That's what I like to see when I open up a box of bees, and so that's what I'm wanting to see. So
wow.
Of course, you can tell those right there were pretty gentle, but they got feisty. Those three. That was the top. No, that was one of 3 boxes on that. It was a 3 deep box. So that was actually the bottom box. I had a reverse order stacked. But anyway, so I just love opening up a colony and seeing bees covering all the top bars. But obviously they have to have time to grow. And that's really kind of my standard for, kind of getting rid of some queens in the summertime. If they're getting weak, if they're not doing that, that's when they're going to get a new queen. And if they're super feisty, especially if they're mediocre or weak and feisty, they're going to be requeened, period. And I really think it's going to work out well. I got some from Lappy's Bee Supply in Iowa last year. I think I've told you they did well. And I've had good success with some and some I haven't, but I really look forward to, I know Jose's doing it right. And I know you are too. And so I've never bought as many queens from individual breeders as what I'm going to buy from you guys this year. And so we're going to be probably looking at upwards of 70, 80 queens or something like that, or more mated queens. I don't know. I don't know yet exactly how many Jose is going to be able to send me. He's going to send me as many as he can, but we're going to see what happens. And then, I look forward in June to getting yours and seeing what happens. So,
well, I know I speak for Jose too. We, Jose and I both appreciate it. Going to your local network here. There are fantastic queen breeders everywhere across the country, globally even. But I'm sure Jose would say the same thing. It means a lot when your friends choose to work with you rather than just going to the cheapest place they can to get queens or to get them right now. I appreciate you, Bruce and Brian, and everybody else that's listening. Supporting us through packages, nukes, queens, supplies. Jose, his wife, his family, they're awesome, and I know they appreciate it too.
Yeah, I want to throw in, just for those that are listening, although it's just the 3 of us.
Just the 3 of us. Just the 3 of us. We can make it if we. Oh no, that's not. That Hive Live is kicking in, boys, and I'm just getting loopy.
I will. You guys already know as far as where the direction that my season's going to go.
Yeah.
So for those that are watching, I was excited this year to graft and get into some different things. Well, that's all going to come to a stop before I even get to start. So in those that have been watching me for a little while, they know that I used to travel for work. Starting first week of May, I'm going to have to start traveling again. So it kind of stinks, I was talking to Matt earlier today, and the one thing he said, he's like, well, God only gives you what, really what we can handle. So if he didn't think that I could manage this, he wouldn't give me this opportunity. It's a heck of an opportunity. But the one thing that I've already looked at, and I think I'm going to kind of do a little bit of what you do, Greg, is I'm going to be, look at that show enough Tennessee Tim puts in. I'm going to be out in, I'm going to have to spend some time in California I'll be,
Oh,
I think I'll be about 2.5 hours from Jose.
got to go see
I already,
Jose.
yeah, I already messaged, Jose as far as, hey, how far away from Sacramento are you guys? Because I know I'm going to be in Sacramento. Um, so I'm going to just take this opportunity when I do travel to try and just connect with people like that I know. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the one positive
Yep.
That'll be
way
awesome.
that I'm looking at this. Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to be able to travel on someone else's dime, and if
Go see
I'm
some
in,
cool folks and
yep, yep.
yep.
Yeah,
So
I want so bad to be able to go hang out with you guys, get up there. I want to go out and see Jose. I want to just see,
yeah,
go over and hang out with Mike Berry and Mr.
yeah,
Ed and Dirt. I want to go just hang out for a weekend or for a couple of days with everybody, but I just
yeah,
can't seem to get away. It's very
yeah. And
difficult.
I will say too, this one right here that just commented, Thomas. Um, Thomas, one of the states that I'll go to is, and I was just going to say, the company that I'll be working with, I'll be in California, Colorado, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and the drum roll is Virginia. So, Thomas, I'll let you know when I'm out that way. But yeah, definitely, I want to try and connect with some people that I know. But it does stink. I mean, because I had a lot of plans. Um, yeah, I got that, the new Apame, like that 7 framer and different things that I was just getting so prepped that I wanted to just learn that skill, and expand my beekeeping knowledge. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to this year. So
It's not unfortunately. Look at how life and journeys and everything kind of unfolds. I
right,
mean, there are no coincidences. Things happen for a reason. There
yeah,
might be something that you just have to
yeah,
when that door opens, walk through it, see what happens.
that's it.
You might find yourself in a really awesome position in
Yeah,
different aspects in life to where you can really enjoy the bees and see and go down that road. So I wouldn't don't
And
look at it
yeah,
from a negative
and
thing. That's an awesome.
just some of the collab opportunities you'll have, whether or not you film it, just to go out and visit some of these
Oh
people. And
yeah.
that's
Yep.
going to be that's going to be something that I mean, I would love to do
That's
that.
a
And that's
treasure
something
to really.
I've
Yep.
wanted to do that ever since I've been doing YouTube, and I haven't been able to figure out how to
yeah,
do it. So
Yep.
yeah,
that can definitely help. I think help your knowledge, seeing how they do it, also help the channel if you do some collab stuff. And just man, it's
yeah,
a tremendous opportunity. But
yeah,
anyway, so that's exciting. I mean, it is a little. I know I wouldn't want to travel, but
yeah,
it sounds like a phenomenal opportunity. I know the company you work for, and we use that stuff at work. We use that particular program at
yeah,
work, and so
yeah.
it's a good product. So
Randy's asking what I do. So I train I train a software to physicians and nurses, mainly physicians that I worked with. But this opportunity here is a little bit different in that um, I'm going to go out into different facilities and have to evaluate their workflow as far as their documentation. And they've had some gaps, and they actually got, if anyone knows anything about CMS, it's Centers for Medicaid Medicare Services. Um, if you take Medicaid Medicare patients, you can, they go out and they do their, I think it might be yearly. They'll do a yearly, just pop in and they, you know, audit the charts and things like that. And this organization, they got dinged a little bit. So they want us to go out, look at their workflow. We'll go through a discovery process, look at their workflow, identify where we see that there's gaps and where they can efficiently document to better their CMS scores, and then develop a training program, train their staff, move on to the next one. And it'll be just a rinse and repeat. So, Chuck, I appreciate that.
maybe come to our facility. We use that software. Maybe come to our
Epic.
facility. Wouldn't that be something?
That
Yeah.
would be
Yeah, we
something
use,
if it's in June, because then you can just swing to Zanesville. You can pick up Bruce's Queens and then hand deliver them. Or
If
maybe I'll
they,
go with you. It'll be like the stream team, live, large, and in charge. The gang got back together again. That'd be fun.
yeah.
yeah, we're using that. I love that. I love that software, by the way. Actually, so
What
it's
is,
just good. It's really
EMR is
good.
evil. Grammy's midwife must know what you guys are talking about.
there we go. Matt and Sarah got them. Charlie Vance is asking. It's Epic.
Epic, yeah,
So,
that's the company. That's what we
yeah,
use too.
Epic.
We've been using it for about
Yeah.
a year maybe or so, and it's such an upgrade from what we used before. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But that news all just hit this week, so I almost threw it in my video that I filmed yesterday, but I just thought, yeah, there's a live coming up. I'll just tell people in the live that
The big
kind of bummed
news.
out, about it, but I mean, I can't. It's almost like it is truly almost like a blessing, this opportunity that I was given. So
let me ask you this, Brian.
Yeah.
If this is so things are changing.
Yeah.
And so I think we know where Bruce is going. He's just, stacking them up, slinging the honey, growing, requeening, getting his yard squared away. What are your goals this year for your bee yard?
I tell you, I was talking to Rodney Middleton, and I got to say for Rodney, I mean, everybody knows there's been, a couple things in the family and different things going on. And Rodney is great that every day I get my good morning, brother. We chat. But like when I was talking with Rodney earlier, this is what I used to do. And this is why I never really expanded, is because when I travel, like I'm thinking I'm only going to be home about 10 days a month. So when you have that type of schedule, you have to keep things at the ready all the time.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I already went over, and it's almost like somebody sent me a message and said, Brian, you need to go and do this because I'm going to present you with an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over and I got a lot of my stuff ready. But that's what I'm going to need to do is just, over the next couple weeks, I'm going to have everything ready so that when things do need to take place, I don't have to spend hours cleaning and prepping and doing this and that. It's when I get home, I used to dedicate 1 to 2 hours a week was all that I could dedicate towards beekeeping. So I have to keep things on a very structured schedule with them.
So what does that look like? You're going to stack boxes, not split so hard, and just try to pull some honey off them at the end of the year?
I haven't quite decided yet.
Yeah.
I want to expand out. I have some queens coming from Jose, and it's the first week that I'm supposed to be on the road. And he already said, if we got to reschedule it, just let him know. And when I find out my traveling schedule, I'll let him know. But I don't know. I mean, if I set up one colony, one hive, so that's a honey producer, and I get a good amount of honey out of that one, expand the other ones out. That way I grow the apiary, because that was my goal this year. I wanted to grow the apiary. And in that process of growing the apiary, I wanted to learn grafting. I got to put an axe on the grafting, because if you're only home 10 days a year, yeah, I'll set up a finisher and then I'm gone for 2 weeks. And when I get back, it would have been WrestleMania.
There's a couple of really crucial times when you're running queens that you have got to be on point and then make some adjustments and get things prepped ahead of time.
So,
but
it is what it is. It is what it is now.
It's going to be good.
I mean, I'm going to go back to more of, I'm going to have to keep that structured schedule like what I had before. But I will say this, those that are watching, other than a couple things that I'm going to have to not, I won't have time to do, it's not going to stop me from filming when I'm home and keeping the content coming out for everybody. So what I always used to do is kind of film. I would go through the yard, and if I see a certain, within a certain colony, if there's certain things that stand out, well, that might be just a video in itself, checking that colony. That way I can spend more time with it and show people more. So it just takes a little bit of little bit of time just to more or less assess the colonies and see what direction I want to go with the videos. But I'll still have videos coming out, of course, So I kind of feel bad, but it is what it is, So got to take it and go, But and
it'll all work out for the good, and you'll learn a lot, and your bees will be in good shape.
It won't affect what we do, because I have done live streams in a hotel before.
Is that right?
Hotels tend to, if you travel a lot, they tend to give you nice internet. So I've never had a problem with like the premium Wi-Fi that they give. So yeah, our lives, when we can.
Is your new tagline going to be, "I don't know, but I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night"?
That's it. Wow. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. Yeah. So that's the news from me.
That's a lot of news, and that's a lot of things. Bruce, we're going on 2 hours. Actually, we're over 2 hours.
I know.
It's my bedtime. It's probably Bruce's bedtime, and Bruce is an hour earlier than me. So if it's my bedtime, or if it's Bruce's bedtime, it's probably really our bedtime. And see, I'm rambling.
I might
don't know
have
how much
to.
alcohol's in this, but I wouldn't give that much to your bees.
Yeah, you got slurred speech and you're starting to hiccup a little bit, so there must be something going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're I don't know if I'm gonna go to bed or work on that video a little bit. I gotta get that thing out. That's my problem. I've got a bunch of footage shot, but I haven't had time to edit it. So
can we not talk about that? Can we not talk about footage and editing? Because
I don't have near as much as you, I don't think, but I do have.
I just can't even. I feel so bad. I think I said it the last time. Anyone who's listening, if you were gracious enough to spend a little time with us at the Hive Live conference and sit down and do interviews then, I've got another full interview with Fred Dunn. I got a whole interview with Rob Paul. I've got so much Dan just came over. And we did a podcast and a video in the new shop. And the thing is, I try to get good at just accepting that you can only do what you can do. And you can't spend any time worrying about the things that you can't do, because it's not going to get them done. And I'll just wax philosophically continuously with a lot of big words, but that's it. You can only do what you can do. And so quit stressing out about it, because those things aren't worrying about you. So why are you worrying about them? Just do the best you can, right? What do you think, Bruce?
I agree. But I got such good stuff that it needs to be put out there. I think it's good. We'll see what you guys think.
Well, I'll be looking.
It's going to be excellent. Yeah, it's going to be the bee's knees, Bruce.
It's the bee's knees. Yeah,
he's holding up that Hive Alive. Yeah. He's getting delirious. We need to let Greg get to sleep.
How many colonies could I have used that on? I guess
10.
Did I just waste it on myself?
There's 2 teaspoons per gallon. 2 teaspoons per gallon.
Oh, just 10? Okay.
That's that one, I think that bottle's 10 colonies. This one here will
it feeds up. 50. Oh, wait. That was like $30.
That's what I said, $24.99.
And that feeds 10 colonies?
Yeah.
That's $3.
Yeah.
I need to get one of those fancy. I need a super clean hat and a Hive Alive. If I'm going to be able to afford to feed Hive Alive.
I got some right over there.
And get some Apiary hives too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's really good stuff. If it's
right.
Well, obviously, if you order in bigger quantities, it's much less expensive. You got to buy it's like Pro Sweets. Pro Sweets way expensive if you buy it in a bottle that size.
Now you're speaking my language. When you buy it by the tote, it's not bad. I want to whoever sent me this. I want to thank you. Sorry that I threw the wherever it came from away. Tim, thanks for this killer hive tool.
That is awesome.
Bruce, thanks for being awesome. Having great videos. Look at that big smile. Awesome Atlanta Braves hat. You're just the whole package there. Brian, thanks for all of the segues. I mean, you were just on point. You were just threading the conversation through just like a delicate ninja admiral in the ocean, just keeping the boat afloat. Show enough. Grammy's midwife. I think she's done. I think I'm wearing them out, guys. This is what we're getting. We're just getting really cut this guy off.
I tell you, everybody, thanks for watching, man. We definitely, we all appreciate it. And those that threw out spoonful of honey keeps the medicine go down.
No,
Bruce,
thanks,
Bruce
Bruce.
is like,
Bruce leaving us hanging there, like the three amigos all of a sudden just turned into the two tenors. Hey, way to go!
Spoonful of honey. Yeah. Oh,
well, I caught the reference there.
Bruce, anything you want to throw out before we key in the video?
I think we're good. Just, moving forward, we're going to have to see where it takes us. We're going to continue doing these. I'm not sure if it'll be every single week. Maybe it will, but we, as things get super busy, everyone knows that has bees. It's just hard to, it's tough. So the frequency may not be every single week, but we will definitely let you know as we move forward.
Look at the backdrop.
Oh,
this guy is just the nice thing here's the nice thing is, while I personally may not get videos out as frequently as I want, I hope that at least we can meet folks, boom, like this, face to face, and keep the dialogue going, keep the interaction going. There's a lot less editing and uploading like this. So, in some aspects, I really like this, and I like the interaction thing. But we all have our own little flavor and our own little style with the videos, and those are fun to see. But as we really get into the season, I just want you guys to know that I appreciate everybody who takes the time out to listen to the podcast or watch our channels. And the same thing, I appreciate it when you guys watch Bruce and when you watch Brian over at Castle Hives. I love seeing these guys get traffic, and I love seeing their videos hit. Like Brian, one of your last videos hit like 1,000 views in a day. That's huge for guys like us. So good job on that one, Brian. I enjoy seeing everybody do well. I've been watching the Hillbilly Beekeepers subs going up, Tennessee Tim, Tim Bates, and everybody. I could just go on and on. I love just seeing everyone's growing and doing well. And
when you work together like this, that's what happens. Instead of competing, you work together. Think about, last night they had a live over at Bob's channel, and we had Yappy on there. We had Dirt Rooster on there. We had Mr. Ed on there. We had a lot of Brian on there. We had a lot of famous people on there, people that everybody recognizes. And that was it was just incredible that those guys are willing to get on stuff like this. And that just that they're willing to do that when they're some of the bigger guys in the industry. And so, it's just, I think there's that vibe, that feeling amongst a lot of us that we just want to, we're just trying to help each other out. And it's pretty cool. And I think all of our channels have been growing, and I think, it's just kind of fun to see. It's fun to see people having success. And so that's really what we're about. We're not about competing. Obviously we all want to do better. And I just have a little competitive nature. That's just in my DNA, but I'm willing to compete and help everybody get better. If we can all get better together, that's what we're trying to do.
That's it.
And that's the goal.
Yeah.
Just help lift, what they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. Is that what they say? And that's what we're trying to do here, I think. That's what we're all trying to do.
Well, I tell you on that, is everybody ready for another video?
Yep. All right, y'all take care, be safe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Beautiful bean footage.
I was just going to say, play that funky music.
Play that. Okay, I'm getting loopy. Cut me off.